Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the PU October tier shift. Today we're going to be focusing on anything in PU or no longer in PU. This tier shift happens every 3 months and is based on a 4.52% usage rate, as it says in the bottom right corner. We got quite a few things to talk about, quite a few activities. First up, we're talking about Articuno Galar, a very powerful psychic flying type. Very popular in this tier in terms of Spike's teams, as its ability competitive gives it ×2 in special attack every time it loses a stat. And so what you do with this thing is you'd run it on Spike's teams, you'd throw it in front of a defog user, and wow, cool. Now your Articuno Galar can hit very hard. There was also, just Calm Mind usage, but that's where I mainly saw it. I mainly saw it in Spike's teams. And Spike teams are very popular in the format. As you see here, I've grouped both Quillfish together because they do about the same thing. They both spikes and then have an off-meta Swords Dance set. But they are technically, the Quillfish are technically the most used mon in the tier. I view them that way at least. But with Articuno Galar leaving, you'll likely see some drop in Spike stacks teams. Not a ton, it's not like Articuno Galar was splashed everywhere, but I do expect to see a drop off. Next up is Houndstone. This is a sad one to see going. Fluffy gave it ×2 to its defense. And so this thing was like one of the best physical walls. It blocks rapid spin. It can hit hard or just be a full-on defensive wall. Either way, it still switches into physical attacks very well. With this like defensive set or offensive set you can see below. So you'll be missed, Houndstone. Next up is Slowbro Galar. This thing was like fit into a lot of different team structures. It has a special defense set, it's a regular defense set, it's got a calm mindset. You'll see like just about anyone running their own off-meta set. I was personally using a lot of Trick Black Sludge. That was my favorite set to use with this guy. And he's gone now. So a lot of teams have to rethink what their like big defensive pivot is. Wo-Chien, I've talked before about how good dark types are in this tier because Psy Spam is in a lot of places, and Wo-Chien was by far the best dark type defensively. We have a lot of good offensive dark types like Skuntank, Bombardier, but Wo-Chien was uniquely defensive, so it is interesting. It had like a lot of, almost a little passive at times, but it had a lot of play in the tier. So the Psy Spam, counters are going to have to think. Now on to the falls. Our new Pokemon it would be Hera, but while I was making this little PowerPoint, Hera's gone now. Hera was banned for crimes against humanity, I suppose. It has Guts, Flame Orb. I never really found it to be that much of a problem, but I don't know. Maybe somebody cracked a set that I never ran into. That's what I have to assume. Someone cracked like a really strong set that I never ran into. Or maybe my team was just uniquely handled for Hera. But regardless, this bozo's out of the tier. So long, Heracross. A mon that's actually still in the tier is Ninetales Alola. It has Snow Warning, which was previously, we had Abomasnow, which was a fake Pokemon. I tried to use it before. Apparently in the Premier League, the big team tournament, somebody ended up using Abomasnow one of the weeks and did really well. He won. So there's something to Snow in this tier. We've got Beartic, which is ZU, that has Slush Rush. Sandslash Alola also has Slush Rush. Those two can double its speed. Frostmoth is incredibly specially defensive, so it appreciates the physical defense boost. And then Avalugg, I put it on here because I wanted symmetry, but this thing is a sacrificial lead. So it does not appreciate snow. It's never going to be in on snow. Ninetales Alola excels with like Aurora Veil setting that up. We don't have Light Clay, so it's only for the, 4 turns? 5 turns? What is it? So it's not for very long, but it still is half damage. And it pretty much just runs Ice Fairy coverage, which isn't bad. You can hit most things neutrally that way. And then Encore can be very nasty into like setup sweepers, because this thing is fast. Like 109, 105 is like a lot of our highest speed mons. It only gets outsped by stuff like Espeon, Ambipom, Salazzle, and a few others. So overall, a very strong mon. We'll have to see where it ends up. Braviary dropped to ZU. It wasn't good when it was in ZU. It's not good now. Rises to PU consist of 1. Mismagius. So why did Mismag rise? Well, the main thing is Slowbro Galar is weak to Shadow Ball. So I don't expect this to stick around. But it does have a couple other things that are good. It's a fast mon. It's like one of the fastest floaters in the tier. There's only a couple floaters that aren't weak to Stealth Rock. That's Mismag, Haunter, Uxie, Rodamo, and Wheezing. Those are the only like semi-viable mons you can use. So that helps like against Web's teams, I guess. It has the extra benefit of being like one of the best offensive pieces when your opponent's running Webs. But this one runs like either lefties or Life Orb. And it just hits hard. It can hit hard with its nasty plot set. You know, it can get behind a substitute. It's got decent special defense, so it can come in on stuff. Like overall, this thing is pretty good. So we'll see if Mismag can stay around. The question is, does the extra value Mismag provide enough to stick around after Globor leaves? Like, once Globor leaves, do people realize, hey, this thing's pretty good, I want to keep using it? We'll have to find out. On to falls. Grafify was the most expected one. In April, Terrain was really spammed everywhere, and it was super strong. But the problem with the Terrain teams is that they were Terrain plus 4 sweepers, so their game plan, to say it was predictable is to say the least. So once people realized how to counter Terrain, once people saw, oh hey, Terrain uses a nice little flowchart, let me anti-flowchart it. Like, it's so easy to anti-flowchart that I reached top 150. I usually hang around like top 500. So I reached top 150 during Terrain team meta, which was very fun. But then it fell off, and then I collapsed in my rating. And so like you can see here, you see Thwacky at 4%, go down to 2%, and Grafify falls down. It just barely escaped in July, barely stuck in here, because Thwacky almost made it in itself. But it was never going to stick around, and so Grafify's fall is understandable. Have a nice day. And then the surprise for a lot of people was Venu falling, because Venu's a pretty solid mon to use. It's got decent stats all around. It's got solid special defense and special attack. And so the question is, why did Venu fall? This one's a bit more complex. And by complex, I mean Amoonguss fell in July. And so you can see here in August, Amoonguss has 13% usage, and Venu collapsed down to about 3%. And now, during this shift, Amoonguss went down to about 9%. Venu barely fell. It was pretty close to staying around. And that's because Amoonguss has a grass poison type. So if you're using one grass poison type on your team, you don't really want to be using 2 grass poison types on your team. Talk about doubling up on weaknesses. So that's the main reason I'd say that Venu fell down this shift. Not because Venu got any worse in the meta, but because like there's a regenerator mon that can do a lot of what Venu can. And by a lot of what Venu can, I mean, here are the 3 Venu sets. You got the defensive set, offensive set, and the sun set. Amoonguss, like if you're using the defensive Venu set, the question becomes, why not just run Amoonguss? Why not just use Amoonguss's regenerator to be defensive? And that question is probably why Venu saw some decrease in usage, because people use the defensive Venu set a lot less. And so now you're splitting that Venu usage amongst the 2 other sets. But it's okay, Venu is rising again, because people are realizing, I don't really like Amoonguss. It doesn't hit hard. It doesn't take hits as well as I want it to. So maybe if the trend we saw continues and Amoonguss keeps falling, Venu will... No. Sun's going to be in trouble. We have a Snow Warning mon that's pretty good. I expect Ninetales to do well in this meta, and unless it gets like banned for some reason, Venu is going to see another drop in usage come next month, because now it's losing out on its sunsets as well, and needs to be carried essentially by its offensive, or people who value its defensive set over Amoonguss. And I just do not see that happening. Venu is not looking great. So we'll have to see what happens. Maybe Sun can adapt, but Drought is banned in PU, so you have to set up the Sun manually. Well, Ninetales can just switch in and turn off your Sun instantly. Here's some honorable mentions. Shaman has its signature move, which has a 40% to decrease special defense by 2 stages. And that's pretty valuable. People like that. So it sees itself as a 4.4, as essentially just a mon that can hit hard. It's got Synthesis. It's got Leech Seed. It likes to exist. Jolteon saw a lot of success in the Premier League. I think it was poised to rise like a month or two ago, but people didn't like it too much, I suppose. It's fast. Electric Fairy is an amazing type coverage. It can Calm Mind Substitute. But at the end of the day, it just didn't receive as much. Malamar didn't see too much usage change from last month. It kind of sticks around here. It's got Contrary Superpower. People like it. My friend kind of stays around here. Maybe someday it can rise. Floatzel, similarly, it's like niche usage. It hits hard with Wave Crash Choice Band. Earthworm with a Steel type and ground immunity really likes to abuse one of our best rockers in the tier, Rhydon. So it exists. Porygon 2 fell in July. It sees some use. It's a special defense normal type, which is a pretty good type. Like to be especially defensive and normal type. But it just does not hit hard enough for most people. So it's just around at 3%. And then Vikavolt, Webs is a niche strat. Pretty strong. People use it. But it's like the main setter of Webs. Webs aren't like the greatest thing in the tier, but they're strong where they're strong. You know what I'm saying? So what are your thoughts? And I'd like to hear about some of the higher tier, some of the reasons some of the stuff in the higher tier changed. I'm not like as plugged into any other tier other than PU. So especially like NU, what happened that Heracross and the funny snow person fell? I gotta know. If you leave that to the comments, I would be very happy. But as for now, I have been the Archduck. Thank you for watching.